What's in the bedrock? Let's fan some crack and find out. Gonna spend some time fanning these cracks. There's a coin that I haven't even fanned the crack. Looks like a penny. It's a Lincoln. And it's a wheat cent. Like I said in the last video, where you find wheat pennies, you can find silver. So we're gonna have a look around. .38 special. More wheat pennies. Can you see the rusty shank? Fishing weight. Somebody was locked out of their house. Railroad spike. There were so many coins I had no idea one would be from the 1800s. There were a couple pistol balls that could date back to the late 1700s. Here's another one of these big copper discs. It's probably a coupon token. No detail on it. More railroad spikes. Some of these are wrought iron. Very old. I was losing count of all the wheat pennies. Still didn't know one was an Indian head. This was a truly amazing find. More on the cleanup.
Oh, that's interesting. Alright.
Very old broken cork top. I think I'll take the cork out of this one. Extremely large fishing weight? I don't know. .357 Magnum hollow point. Another pistol ball. Non-metallic or pellet. The advantage fanning bedrock has over metal detecting is that you see everything. You're not just cherry picking high tones. You literally see everything. This is why you wear gloves, glass everywhere. Another interesting cartridge. We'll talk about it on the cleanup. Old perfume still carries its aroma.
I know I was just fanning the crack today, but it wouldn't be a river search if I didn't find at least one marble. So here we go. Well, you don't see that very often. That marble is just perfectly in there. The water was just low enough to keep rushing over it to make it perfectly clean.
Nice root beer colored swirl marble here.
Look at that. Wow.
Early 1900s Summit Bottling Works. Too bad it had a lot of wear and the top was busted up. Early 1900s, H.J. Heinz relish or pickle jar.
That's interesting.
I mean, that's interesting. I think that might say Heinz. It's bigger than a ketchup, though. We'll take it back and research it.
The oldest inkwell I've ever found, late 1800s.
This looks modern, but you never can tell. I usually pass up on the small milk glass items, but this one here, I'm glad I hooked it. It says Larkin Buffalo, and I know that this was like a soap company, and they have their origins in, I think, the mid 1800s. This is a screw top, so it's probably right around 1900, but we'll have a closer look when we get back. Dang it, there's a, looks like a quart milk that's good. Some other interesting things on this bank, but I have this layer of quicksand between me and the bank, and I might have to backtrack. So let me get over there and I'll get right back to you. All that, and it looks like this quart got a crack in it. Yeah, where was it from? Perfection Dairy. Actually tried something new. I like slithered across in my wetsuit to have more surface area. Otherwise, this quicksand's about 3 feet deep, so you can see them sinking as we speak. Here's a cottage cheese. Then he left that's whole. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, I don't know if it was worth you coming over here. Yeah, I think it was. All right, if I could get up to this grass. Oh man, if you could only, yeah, I warned people about that, and now I'm the one. If I didn't have my trusty rake here, I would be finished. Try to walk where you see foliage. The roots tend to hold things together better. Got a interesting item over here. See, what the heck is that thing? And drag it over. Looks like a metal cap to a fence. Yeah, that's probably what that is. Alright, since I'm over here, might as well make it to the island. Alright, we'll get back to you. There's a whiskey, and you never know when these things are going to be embossed. Usually they're not. They just say 1 quart. This looks like an old one. Let's have a look. I feel no embossing. Not sure the mold's same. We'll look closer.
It was late 1800s, but had a big crack in it.
And one for the road. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is nice. Bright, vivid orange. You could clear, dang near see straight through it in the right area. Cool.
Cleanup time. So what do I start with? How about this milk glass that I would normally pass up on? Why did I take it? Well, on closer inspection, it had a pretty interesting design on it that isn't typical. And then it's from Larkin Co. out of Buffalo, New York. This was a soap company that was established in 1875. This little jar was produced likely around 1920, so it's over 100 years old and has that interesting pattern. Dating back to the earlier time for the Larkin Company, I have this from a previous hunt. This is Larkin Co. Buffalo. This had soap product in it. It is a cork top bottle that this mold seam stops right at the shoulder. So that's one way that you could tell they're a little bit older and not machine made. And that's that. So the next thing is this SMI 939 7.35 millimeter Carcano Italian rifle cartridge that has been shot. This is a World War II type cartridge for Italy, made in the, I would say, the mid 1930s. to replace, as they say, the 6.5 by 52 round going into World War II. So that's kind of an odd caliber to find, but then again, I always find odd calibers in the river for some reason. So that's that. Then we have this inkwell. This has got to be the oldest inkwell that I've ever found, and this is a Carter's. And some of you might know, normally Carter's inkwells, they kind of taper off like this, and they're like triangular. This one's a little bit different. This Carter's inkwell, in my estimations, looks like it's from possibly the 1880s or a little later. It has an unevenness about it. It has bubbles here. The mold seam stops right here at the neck. Here's a couple chips, but I had to keep this because, again, this is an older inkwell and it is all intact. So glad to have that. This thing that I found out of the bedrock, I tumbled it like I would normally tumble like modern clad coins to take to the bank, and boy did it shine up. It's probably some kind of brass copper alloy. And what this says is New England Advertising Clubs, Springfield, Massachusetts, Forward, New England, it also says, and Truth with some smaller lettering right here. Very interesting. Probably given it at a convention or something like that, and someone had it on them and it fell out of their pocket and was in the river ever since. Now, I did find this, all these wheat pennies. These are all wheat pennies here. And for the numismatists that are going to be, let me get that in focus. There we go. For the numismatist, it's going to say, you shouldn't have tumbled those in a rock tumbler. Well, I check all the dates to make sure there's no key dates. And you got to remember, if it was in the river for 100 years, it's been in a natural rock tumbler for 100 years. And if condition is everything, like if you send your coins out to be graded and they're talking about luster and this, none of these are rare. It helps me to see the detail on them a little bit better. If it was something with a key date, I would never consider putting it in a rock tumbler. Like I found this Indian head right here. I didn't tumble that because, one, that's unique because it's the only one I've ever found in about 8 years of searching. That's pretty crazy that I haven't come across one. I've found a lot of silver coins and things, but that's my first one there. So a lot of wheat pennies, 13 in total. What's that mean? Where there's Wheaties, there's usually silver coins. The lack of silver coins in fanning the bedrock means that somebody with a metal detector was in that same area and harvested the silver coins. But what do they miss when they're looking only for high tones? They miss Indian heads. They miss wheat pennies. They miss stuff like this little New England Advertising Clubs thing. All these copper, whatever they are, slugs, definitely too thin and the wrong size exactly to be like a King George or a large cent. So I think these were more or less like tokens of some sort where all the detail has been completely scrubbed. So that's what that is. The one wheat penny that I have here, I don't know if you can see it. I'll bring it up on the in a picture here. This is a 1918 wheat penny. So that's pretty old. It's, what would that be? 105 years old? Yeah, so that's 105 years old. And then this is special. Like I said, it's the only Indian head I've ever found, and I'll bring a picture up of this so you can see the date a little clearer. But this is a 1898 Indian head penny that's 125 years old. Just sitting there in the bedrock waiting to be found. You know, it's in pretty rough condition, but there's the shield over 1 cent. I'm so happy to have this in my collection as the first one. What else did we find that's old? These are like musket balls, but they're a lot smaller. So this is what's called like a pistol ball, or possibly even like a buckshot from that era. They're like little musket balls that probably were fired from a pistol. These ones look like they were dropped, and they're definitely made out of lead and have the hallmarks of that type of munition. Not to be confused with some clay marbles or this, which is basically, I think, like an ore pellet from steel manufacturer. This does not have any metallic signature when I put my pinpointer up to it. So I know for certain this is not like a musket ball or a pistol ball. What else do we got? We got a really good selection of marbles here. We got this little perfume bottle. Not sure of the age. It's probably between 1930s to 1950s. And it still has an aroma and a little plastic ball that where you would rub that around and that would distribute the perfume. So that was interesting. A small milk glass container, smaller than most. A cork for a cork top, a key, a bunch of modern clad. I don't know how old these valves are. They probably come off of a really old car. They still have old tire rubber on them, if you know how old those are, but they were in the same bedrock crack together. Bunch of sinkers or fishing weights, whatever you want to call them. Here's the king of all fishing weights. Look at this thing. Absolutely massive, sitting in the bedrock. I don't even know what that would be for. Probably to weight something else down. I can't see people fishing with something like this. You'd never be able to cast it. So I'll solicit your opinion. If you know maybe what that was for, let me know. The Akron Pure Milk. This was on the bank where I had to crawl across the quicksand. It's in fantastic condition. The Akron Pure Milk Co. And then on the back, you of course see creamed cottage cheese, 12 ounces. So this is about 100 or more years old. I would put it over 100 years old. Cottage cheese. I like finding dairy container jars, old milks and stuff. So I'm glad I went over there to get that. This is a Heinz either relish or pickle jar. There's no embossing of it on it other than on the bottom. It says H.J. Heinz Co. Pat 2 or Pattern 2 or Patent 2, I should say. 381. This is mold seam goes all the way up here, so this is machine made. I'd place it right around 1910 or 1920. Got a knife. What would a trip in the Cuyahoga be without finding a knife? A couple little brassy items here. Let's see, a few fragments of pottery. I don't think this stuff is old. I think there was a pottery place on the river at one point. It's glazed in here. If you know the age of this, let me in on that, because still not sure. What else? Always finding ammunition. Here's a 357 Magnum, an old 38 Special, and that here to complete the collection from my last video is the 38, just standard 38. What is that? Smith & Wesson cartridge, which is older and shorter. So I got a whole variety of those. And what else? Oh yes, this I love finding old beers and old sodas. This one is in really rough shape. It's machine made, so it's probably right around 1910, given the look. Summit Bottling Works, and then the SB. It's got a nice aqua color to it. What some people will do, like Antique Archaeology, he'll have this sent out and then cut down and then tumbled, and it'll look just like new. And I think I might do that because I got a lot of contenders that could be drinking glasses, and see how that works. It'll shine up in that process and look like this, which is some bottles come out looking like this. This is a really old 1880s beer from another adventure. How do you know it's old? Well, not always, but most of the time. You see these bubbles. That's a very crude manufacturing process. A very thick mold seam that stops right about here. The type of top this is an indicator. And I think this one was CCC Company. I've looked it up before. I think this one is from, where are we at on here? There it is, right there. You could tell if you look these up about what year it's from. So this is a really clean example of a beer from that 1880s era. But just showing you what it would look like if I sent this out and had somebody tumble it. Maybe I should get my own equipment to tumble. And then, because I have so much of this stuff, it might be worthy. But then cutting it down, that's another thing that I'm not sure of. But, you know, something to do. And that's about it. What a tremendous hunt that was. Just fanning the crack. And that's it. All kinds of good stuff. The next time I go back, I'm going to take my metal detector, because I can guarantee you with these Wheaties, there was a lot of silver. There's no way they got all the silver out of that river. I'll see if I can find some silver coins in the bedrock crack next time. So until then, thanks for watching and happy hunting, everybody.